What's good, everybody? Good evening. Happiest of Mondays. I'm sure we are all glad that it is over. Hello, James from the Watch Your Mouth Reviews channel.
Hello, hey everybody. Thank you for having me.
In the description of this video, if you click on the title, there is a link to James's channel. Please click it. Give him a subscribe, something. Give him something. Watch a video. Hell, do
Yes,
something.
enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself.
We um we are here for Queen's Court, y'all, and the episode was good. The season as a whole has been okay so far. We're about halfway through, but this isn't a show that you can easily be bored by because the stupidity amongst some of these women, which we will get to, just hot mess express. This episode's titled High Stakes Love, which was, I think they mean to be clever when they title these episodes, but oftentimes it's just a little bit corny. I'd also like to say before we get started, Holly Robinson Pete, I love you. Your husband can go. I don't understand their dynamic on this show in general, but if they insist on having a host, I think she can do it by herself and has that better relationship with being on TV in general. I just don't care for him. He just seemed corny and old and like he really needs to have like a cup of coffee and a big ass sandwich in front of like a football game with his like uncle friends. Like, I don't care to see him on my TV screen. That's just that. James.
I'm hollering. I was not ready.
I don't get his purpose. Like when he's talking with the men, because we got a lot of him this episode compared to other ones. When he interacts with the men, even when he's complimenting his wife, I feel like he's just not comfortable on camera in this way. And it's not everybody's meant to host. That's what I'll say. Not everybody's meant to host. But jumping into the episode, you guys, Delicious is explaining the reasons why she decided to keep Chris, who was the clear skinned fellow that was very aggressive, was tripping on everybody. He was combative, as Kate Michelle said, and she didn't want him, but Delicious decided that she did. And Delicious is trying to explain why she kept him. And this heifer literally says she likes a challenge. James, don't laugh. This is what she said to the camera. Okay. She said, I kept him. I don't know. She was trying to think of something and nothing came. She said, I like a challenge. And what I heard is this is why you're alone and none of your relationships work. That's what I heard.
What I heard is that you like men to be abusive in some capacity.
Yeah. She wants to fix them. She is that classic. And we talk about this on my channel, on James's channel, just with all the shows we recap from all these different networks. Like, she definitely gives the type of woman that will pick someone who's less than perfect because she views herself as less than perfect with the intention of fixing herself and the other person. You should not get with people to fix them. Like, I'm not saying you got to be perfect. I'm not perfect. My husband's not perfect. But my goal in life is not to fix him. I believe thoroughly that he should be able to identify his own flaws and fix his goddamn self. That is not my job as his wife to fix him. I'm supposed to be there to support him, protect him mentally, root him on while he fixes himself, not provide a toxic environment. But it's not my job to fix him or anybody else, unless they under the age of 18 and have come from the coochie or have been adopted. That's the only way that I would view it is that way. But I don't know. Delicious wants to fix a man that's likely unable to be fixed. James, would you like to add something to that? Or
No, I just can't wait to see this backfire on her. That's
oh,
all
it
I'm
does.
saying.
It does. He knows. So the men, all of the men come. We've already gotten the last batch of men, so we're not getting no more men. This was terrible compared to season one. The option season one, from financial status to just physical shallow stuff, from how the men looked, how they talked to the women. I felt like this season was worse for men. There wasn't, in my opinion, the best selection of men, and the men that were good choices this season were either sent home and or left, and or they keep saying to the confessional that they're not like fully comfortable trying to date a woman while also competing a bunch of men, a bunch of against a bunch of different men while also on camera. So it just doesn't seem like this batch of men was prepared to be on TV. And I know because these women all have fame of their own and are much more well known than all of these men, I still think you should have people who somewhat want to be on TV or in the limelight just because it aligns with what they do, and then it'll make it better. They may stay, they may not leave. So that's just my personal observation.
Well, it would get them out of that stage fright and have them come on the show being truly authentic. Because you have the ones who want too much camera time and it's being inauthentic, and then you have the ones who are just awkward. So
Yeah.
that's what this group is given.
Yeah, that's the best way. He explained it much better than me, y'all, because that's the best way to explain it. So the men come down. We learn that they're going to have a casino event, which is why it's called High Stakes. Woohoo. But basically, each of the women are going to have a golden coin. And this golden coin, they are going to be able to give to the man of their choice. And that's going to determine the first 3 men who are going to move into the house. So there's a lot that happened at this little mixer. They get to mingling and all of that. But the strangest thing and fun fact, 53-year-old Ben, right? The clear man. He, the one who's adopted, who we just learned may not be a good match for her from the previous episode, because he says he's going to be damn near in his 70s when his youngest is graduating high school. So he's okay with adopting, but he doesn't want to adopt a new baby as Kay does. So I'm surprised that she's still interested in Ben. I feel like she's just entertaining him so that she can have someone that she can kind of control, who ain't gonna tell her too much, and also someone who wouldn't complain about her schedule, which I don't feel he would. But apparently Ben was a breakdancer. He was pop locking and dropping it. He said he didn't spin on his head or nothing, but I was surprised to figure that out, that he was a breakdancer. And he said that there may be video footage of him in Atlanta from when this was filmed weeks prior of him hitting it. I said, oh, I said, there has to be something that's attracting you to the soul and the beauty of Black people, sir. And I think that may be a piece of it. And I'm here for it. I liked it because it was finally something we got to learn about Ben outside of his kids that was like interesting, where he kind of perked up. So I was happy to see a little bit of Ben's personality there. But I don't know, and I'm gonna get James's opinion on this. I don't understand why K. Michelle continues to entertain Ben when it's very clear that there's no romantic connection there. There's no chemistry there. I don't even know that they're super attracted to each other. And I'm talking about going both ways. So how do you feel? Do you think there's a connection between K. Michelle and Ben?
No. I think what she's doing is she's keeping, for the viewership of this show, she's keeping one that she would not end up with, because I told you who I think she's going to end up with. Just because of what she wants in someone. She wants someone she can control. She wants a yes man. She doesn't want someone that's going to put her in her place. And that's the problem. So I'm like, okay, so this is who I think she's going to end up with. I feel like this guy is a contingent because she's going to get into it with him at some point before the show ends, and then send him home in the most drastic, dramatic way she can. I really feel like this is what this is. And I have to be wrong, and I don't really care one way or the other.
You know, that's a good point, because K. Michelle, I think of all the women up here, has the most experience with reality television. She just does. She had her own show. She's been on shows with other people. She's done dating shows. She's done the therapy shows. She's done all types of reality shows in addition to having, you know, her music career. So I can definitely say that she might use that to kind of pre-produce. Like we see this with people, once they're on TV long enough, they start to produce their own moments. And it would make sense. It does give when you explain it that way. It reminds me of when I Love New York was on, and she took that boy Taylor Made, I think his name was. And I was like, what the hell? Why would she choose him? But it made for good TV. So you may have a point, because I don't sense nothing between the two.
Yeah, this seems like it's a TV decision. It doesn't seem like this is where you kind of question the authenticity of a reality TV show when you have a contestant on there that clearly has so many red flags for her potential of what she wants in someone that it really does have question marks in my mind. Is this really who she wants to have, or is this a TV scheme? And y'all are sitting up here and making this man go out the most horrible way a man can go out on reality TV. And I feel like if that's what they're doing, unless he's okay with it, it's messed up.
Yeah. Yeah. Because Ben does seem like a nice guy. So, but moving on, you guys. Here we go. So, Delicious is already annoyed with Chris. They're mingling and everything. And Chris is just off to the side. He's quieter. He's observing stuff, which in real life, I don't fully see the issue with that. Like, that is me in large spaces where I don't know people. I'll either stick to myself and observe quietly from the corner or stick to my friends and observe quietly from wherever they at. It takes me a while to warm up. So I do understand that. But Delicious is annoyed with him because of this. And she makes the point and she says this over and over and over to the damn confessional. He's supposed to be a motivational speaker, and he's supposed to do community outreach and uplift the community, and he should be the most social one in the room. And I understand the expectation that she has, but it people who work in community outreach, people who work, the more you work with the public and the community, no matter how big your heart is and your purpose for doing it, the less you're going to want to deal with people and be all talkative and whatnot when you are not in that space of professionalism. That's just from personal, experience, in addition to, some of the teachers of psychology and some other things. People don't always want to be up in people's face, and
Not
that's
only that,
okay.
people want to be able to turn that off and be their own person.
Yeah.
And I feel like what she is expecting is for him to show his career and show how he is and use that as a skill to swoop her. And that's not what's happening here. And I don't know why she thinks this is the way to go. He's trying to show you him, the authentic part of him, because the whole objective of this experience is for you to meet a man and have your king, right? So why would you want him to constantly be in work mode and not know any part of him? That's her
Especially
problem.
when this girl is constantly talking about she doesn't want her image as Delicious to impact people seeing London, aka Chandra. She don't want that. But then you expect for his professional image to impact. It's Delicious don't make no sense in this whole
She
episode at
don't.
all. She got on my
Yes,
nerves.
that
So
is a
Chris,
very good point. Yes, that's a great point because it's like, yes, you don't want your image to be known and taint whatever these men think of you. That could be the same thing for him.
yep. Delicious does this though, most of this episode. The things that she expects and would like to receive, she does not give to others in return. Now, Chris does say that it is foreign and unnatural for him to be pursuing a woman in front of a TV screen and especially in a competition format. So Delicious comes over, she pulls him to the side, they have a seat on a little couch, and she offers him something to drink. And he says, sure, I'll take water. She's trying to get him to drink. And he's like, it's just awkward exchange. And he's like, okay, fine. Like, if you insist, I'll take water. So then she gets up and she grabs him a water. I didn't understand why he couldn't drink the unopened bottle of water. But then she got up again and she's like, oh, we need to get a cup. And he's like, I'll get one. She's like, yeah, but this one's unused. He's like, yeah, but I'm the one who used this cup. And I'm like, okay, y'all really talking about a cup and its use and was new and was old. They got on my nerves with that. So they finally sit down and she's complaining, why do I have to do this for him? And I'm like, you offered. Y'all could have sat down and just started having a conversation. You offered him something to drink. I don't understand you, Delicious. So they finally get to speaking, and she says that she feels that Chris is not a gentleman. And she asks him why he's on the show. And his response is after processing the previous day where K. Michelle eliminated him, but then let him know that he's staying because London wants him. He says that this may not be for him, and he is struggling to process that. basically his ego got in the way and he didn't like that neither of these bitches wanted him, and that got seen on camera. He don't know how he gonna motivationally uplift others after experiencing that. That's what I got from it. But they end up going back and forth. Like they legitimately were arguing and yapping at each other the way that my husband and I would yap at each other if we were annoyed with each other or something. And we've been together for over 16 years. So people who just met each other should in no way be bickering like that. I know some of y'all like to think, oh, that's cute. That's a connection. That means we could do this till we're old. That's not healthy to do so soon or often. Like if I'm bickering with my partner like that, it's usually like if we're like going through something like intense, like when I was in college and broke, you know, then we're bickering and yapping. Like, I think this is important to pay. No, I think that's important to pay. But not just over some stupid stuff like these two. It didn't make any sense. So essentially, this just proves that K. Michelle was right. And she knew she was right. I think K. Michelle has actually learned from her past relationships. But I don't understand Delicious. This man has said to her, I don't want to be here anymore. And Delicious essentially continues to try arguing with him back and forth. And I was like, oh, I'm starting to see some of the problem with her. She has to be right. She has to have the last word, and she has to be the one in control. And she uses her femininity as a woman to manipulate and to get that from men and this audience. But Delicious is not an angel entirely. Why are you arguing with somebody that just told you they don't want you? What is the point?
Because here's the thing, she sought out him from the beginning and got mad that another woman chose him.
Mm.
And then after that, she then picks him back up when the other girl didn't want him, thinking that, okay, well, you know what, I'm just going to upstage her. But really, what he did was he put your ass on blast because he didn't want you. And I don't think he didn't want her for the simple fact of being rejected. I think he saw triggers because it was triggering that she was trying to start an argument with him out of nowhere. Who argues over a cup that is disposable?
This is
So,
argument number one of this episode, too, y'all.
yeah.
He had Delicious has argued actually with quite a few of these men.
And I'm starting to see what the problem is. I really do. Like I'm seeing what the problem is. I think it's what you're saying. I do agree with that. But also I think another problem with that is that she's not used to having power, if that makes sense. I feel like she's used to being with men who have more money, who have more access, and who have more ability to move around in certain places that she can't necessarily get into. And I think that intimidated her. And that's probably why she doesn't stay with those men. So
That
in
could be
this
it.
so in this circumstance, yeah, in this circumstance, she is that emulation of her child's father or her ex-husband where they were millionaires. She's now in the space where maybe she may have more money than the contestants. And now
Mm.
she's doing what probably was done to her to the other men. That's why she's getting into it with them. And nobody is going to stand for that because not everybody comes from that. Not everybody has that trauma. So you have to understand how you put your trauma on other people. They're not going to respond the way that you would have responded if you were in their shoes. They're not going to do that.
I think, and we'll get to it later when we discuss Delicious again, but I think that she's using her trauma as a way to get away with things, to manipulate, and as an excuse for bad behavior. I think that her trauma has impacted her, but I also feel like she may have worked through it and just uses it as a crutch from time to time. And we will get to that in a moment and why I think that, because I'll get to that in a moment. Moving on, y'all. Andre attempts to tell K. Michelle about himself. He starts with this whole story about being from a small town and he can't help the way he is, and he just think they meant to be and all. He sounded like he did rehearses. So that was the first time like I really saw what K. Michelle has been talking about. I don't think he is the guy for her, but I feel like she may still let him stick around. I just don't care for him. His haircut gives me childish, and everything he says does kind of start to sound like a little bit too perfect and pre-planned. That's what we were saying earlier. These men are just disingenuous. They don't know how to be on TV. They just saying whatever the hell they think gonna make them good, and it's just
It's one of those situations where I'm like, is this really a real thing, or is it y'all just need a reality TV check? Like, this is what this is giving me so far. Because at least with Evelyn and Tamar, when they were on the show, at least they ended up with their men for a substantial amount of time.
they did. They
No
did.
matter how it turned out in the end result, especially for Tamar over there, it's still they still ended up with these men. I feel like by the end of this show, ain't none of them gonna be with them for the amount of time that Tamar, at least Tamar was with JR.
Yeah, that's true. I agree because especially the men they're choosing, I don't think that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we see Lisa Ray with David. I can't stand him. Everything he says is just smooth. It's starting to get a little annoying. It's starting to get on my nerves. Like certain pieces of him makes me think, oh, he could be good for her, but then the other piece of me feels like he the dude that'd get with Lisa Ray, let the fame of being Lisa Ray's dude and from the show get to his head. I feel like he's the dude that would flip the script and switch up. I don't know why I feel that way. I just do. Now, Nosh comes up to Pet Michelle asking her about her song Puddin'. And, K Michelle's like, I wanted to do country when I first came out, but they told me I couldn't because I was black. Girl, you better learn your history. We started country music. I'm just saying. But
Yeah.
it is good that she did R&B because come on now. K Michelle made some. I still listen to K Michelle. I was just listening to her earlier. Make this song cry. It's a good song. Check it out, everybody. But I think everything happens for a reason. She's doing country music now. She seems to be getting received well, and her career's doing well. But I thought it was a little strange that Nash was like, I was listening to your songs because I genuinely, knowing the African community, I don't think he, especially being a man, I don't think he's listened to her music prior. So I feel like he was just going and looking into her a little bit. But something about him seems disingenuous to me.
Mm-hmm.
And K Michelle feels like Nosh knows who she is and is trying to learn the little details about her and all of those things. But something about him is disingenuous to me. And that's what I'll say. That's what I'll say. But she seems to really like Nosh, James. How do you feel about K Michelle and Nosh together?
Mm, I feel like the reason why she would like him is that it was a coax at her ego more so than it was a really authentic connection. And I think she's going to always take that. And I think anybody would. I mean, I'm not saying that like that's a bad thing, but I don't see the connection. I don't. Not with them two. No.
He's nice to look at and he could sing. If they ever make a baby, the child will have vocals, but that's about it.
No, what I feel like is going to happen is the cultural aspect,
It'll
considering
clash.
who he is and where he comes from. It's going to clash.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Because some African men, you don't know till you get with them.
Hello, Portia.
Now, Delicious says that she and Zach have a real connection. I don't buy it. They've both been awkward around each other. But she says her and Zach have a real connection. Her makeup is 2 shades too light. Fix it, Jesus. That's all I'm going to say. Thank you, Phaedra Parks. Now, Delicious is sitting trying to have a moment with Zach, and I don't know why. It just seemed like the girl got charged up and horny out the blue. And she grabbed his face in a way that you grab your man's face when it's time to have intimate time. It looked like she wanted a kiss, but he turned red, was caught off guard, and started sweating, hyperventilating, all types of things. You could tell he was really nervous. And that kind of threw me off because I can understand being embarrassed or uncomfortable, but most men would still like give you a kiss, smack that ass, something. And he did seem like he got red, like he just seemed embarrassed. I'll say what I think in a moment, but she wants Zach to be more aggressive in terms of like how he is romantically, sexually, and all of those things. And she literally says to him verbatim, I want you to show me that you want to fuck me. I said, oh, okay. It was just very, very weird. But she basically ends up getting into a back and forth with Zach the same way she did with Chris. I'm like, oh, she's arguing again with another man. And she's basically arguing with him because she's like, you don't want to fuck me? Girl, you are delicious. People been wanting to fuck you for 20 years. That's how long you've been around, damn near. People have been wanting to. They might want to less because of the plastic surgery and stuff, but this is a 46-year-old woman. I had to pause the episode and look up her actual age because I was like, this is getting weird. I'm 32. And for me to behave this way with any man, even the one I'm married to, would be very strange. Like you cannot be upset at this person that you just met, who's on a TV show, who probably had to sign all sorts of contracts and things that they said they wouldn't do just to be able to potentially date you. You cannot be mad at him for not wanting to fill on your booty and do the most around a bunch of other men. You can't be mad at that. And it was strange. She literally was giving off the energy like, if he does not want to sleep with me and does not make that known, then how can I know we have a real connection? Like, it seems like she bases connections off of sex. And I'm not surprised based on the fact she keep bringing up her sexy image. And yes, I'm using air quotes. Uh, but at the same time, the way Zach responded, I get why she's bothered. I don't think he's attracted to her. I don't. I think he's here to be on TV. I don't think he's attracted to any of these women. And not because they're black. I just don't think he's attracted to
No,
any of
he's
them.
attracted to him. It's just a it's just a fetish. He's attracted to him. It's just a fetish for him. That's what you call a fetish. See, it's my fetish is more so in the gay community than it is the straight community. But this is what a gay person would call a fetish. People fetishize being with black people for a specific reason. It could be any type of reason of what it is. And in Delicious' standpoint, it's sex. And I find it so ironic that you're trying to skate away from people not knowing your image, but you're trying to promote yourself in the sexual way that we would see you. It's so contradictory, and I'm tired of her with this shit.
I think everybody's tired of her. And the other thing I noticed with these two in their exchange, this is why I say I do think he has some type of a fetish for black people as a whole, down to how he mentions his children and the women he's talked about dating. But I don't think that he is like genuinely attracted to these women. I think the one that he was attracted to, who he blew it with, aka K Michelle, I don't think that he wants Delicious, especially no shade. Delicious from Flavor of Love had a bright future behind her, if y'all know what I'm trying to say. And she also was naturally beautiful. Now we've got some botched plastic Barbie that don't look right. And I don't know. I feel like it might look worse up close. So maybe that's what it was. But the men this season all seem to have a big problem talking, flirting, doing stuff in front of other men with these women. So do better casting, because here's another guy saying it. Moving on. Booker took his coin from Lisa Ray. He did it right. I would have gave him some right then and there. Oh, you gonna demand it? Okay, there you go, Lisa. But he did it in a way that wasn't like just like overly aggressive. Like, he chatted with her a little bit and then waited to do it, but we know that Booker gonna end up moving in. Those two really do have a genuine connection, though, Lisa Ray and Booker. I like how every time we see them interacting, they're both learning a little bit more about each other. And I feel like they're doing it the right way, because it seems like they went from childhood, now they done moved up, discuss high school, now they done moved up, discuss, family. So I like that they're actually taking the time to do this. But this is why I think Queen's Court should have like a Queen's Court senior auntie series or something, because I feel like there is a huge difference in how people over the age of 50 date compared to people under the age of 50. Like if we just do it from that broad spectrum, like they're going to take their time. I really think the mindset is, the more life that you've lived, they view it as the less time they have left on earth. So they may be more careful with choosing a partner, hell, choosing a sponge, choosing anything. And I feel like that shows with Lisa Ray. She's actually talking to these men, getting to know these men. And something I like that Lisa Ray does also is she gets very quiet and she lets them talk so that she can watch and, analyze and see how they respond to certain things. She asks a lot of open-ended questions and then gets quiet. So I will say that. What you think of Lisa Ray and Booker?
Um, I see a couple potential in them more than I see with anybody else in this cast. So I will give it to that. I feel like yes, she does play it safe with being quiet and letting them kind of, you know, mosey through so she can see what she can and cannot deal with. So I can respect her for that. Now, do I think this is something that will work long term? No. I feel like for me, she has to be in control, and I don't think he's going to allow her to do that. And I don't think she's at the point in her life where she's ready to step back and just be someone's, you know, submissive wife. I don't see that from her.
I think Lisa Ray and K Michelle specifically, something they have in common. Their careers are both doing well right now. And like you said, that's going to make it harder to submit just as a
It
whole.
is.
Yeah.
And you have to understand, and then that's also a trauma bond for her because she was with a pastor and got out of the limelight for many, many years.
Hmm.
So I kind of feel like I don't think she would be ready to step back into that kind of position where she has to be considerate, submissive to not only that lifestyle, but like where she has to take a back seat to herself again. I don't think she's gonna want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I like Lisa Ray too. I didn't really like her like outside of her roles on TV. Like I didn't care for her at all. But something about her on this show is like I'm warming up to her all over again. I like her because it seems like she's
Well,
just herself, and I can respect that.
she's a more calm herself. I think going on Iyanla did help her. I do, regardless if she wants to admit that or not. I think it did because Lisa, if we're talking about Lisa Ray from 2020 and 2021, especially when she was on the show with Claudia Jordan, she was crazy as hell. Like, I'm not going to lie to y'all. Like, it was the things that she would say, and it was just like, damn, are you really this rough?
They were in they were all over social media during COVID. I remember that.
Hmm. And that's how I think she really is in real life. So to see her in this space where she's a little bit more gentle and a little bit more warm, you can tell she definitely has grown.
Hmm.
And that's what, and this would be a lesson to everybody who's dealing with anger and pain and things that corrupt your spirit from being just peaceful. Look at Lisa Ray. She's in her late 50s and she is navigating life in a peace, calm way. And she just got like, it wasn't like she was like this before. So I feel like let this be a lesson to especially women who are suffering the way she did.
Hmm. Now, Booker, we know is going to be moving in. Now, Delicious goes and asks Tracy, who gave her 2 roses, to give him a coin so that he could move in. And that surprised me. She couldn't really find many things that she liked about him. And it seems like the fact that he gave her 2 roses versus a dozen really did turn her off. She brought it up to him, you know, somehow he still gets a coin. She says they want to learn each other. This is how you know she don't know what she's doing. It would make sense to give the coin and have the man move in who you're most interested in, who you feel the deepest connection with, so you could see more. Like you learn a lot about people when you live with them. Hell. So she could have done that, but instead she gave it to somebody she's not really too interested in. And then she low key almost tried to start a little bickering with him, but he's so passive that it wasn't able to go nowhere. I don't know what's wrong with her on this episode. Maybe she got some bad news. Maybe the PMS on Flo was near, but she was stripping the whole episode trying to start a fight. Now, anybody who did not get a coin from one of the women is automatically invited to the elimination. And I didn't like how they worded it because it wasn't no different from other episodes. 3 people were safe. Those are the people who had the coin. Everybody went to mingle before the elimination, and then 3 people are chosen to go to the elimination dinner. They made it seem like something different happened, and nothing different happened. And I had to rewind it and watch a few times to make sure I wasn't tripping. And I wasn't tripping. Um, but the people who did get coins and who will be staying in the house with the women are Booker, Tracy, and Nosh. I'm okay with Nosh getting chosen. I am okay with Booker being chosen, but Tracy, I just did not understand. Now we get to see the men's quarters. First of all, they're in the basement of this house that they have rented on Airbnb for this show. And then, secondly, they're not, I understand twin beds, but these men were in some short twin beds. I'm 5'5", and I would be begging for space in the beds.
Does this remind you of what was that one show that we just did on your channel where everybody was online dating and meeting for the first time?
Never ever met.
Yes.
It was worse than that.
I know it was worse than that, but that's what came into my mind. Especially when you just described it right now, how all the girls had to share one quarter space and everything. And mind you, this was couples.
It's
So
crazy. You said they get to live in the house with the women. So I'm thinking maybe there's like a chase or a couch or something they could sleep on near the rooms or in the room. But no, they have these little ass twin beds. But listen, it is what it is. And then what really irritated me is they put the foldable, transportable ping pong table in front of all of these beds. And it's taking up all the space in the room. And I'm just looking like, who put that there? So y'all go give them some ping pong, some beds. And they're sharing one bathroom. Ooh, that's my alarm, y'all. My bad. But they're sharing one bathroom.
now,
Bravo, Peacock. The budget was tight, huh?
now maybe this is the one bathroom where they get to shower in. Maybe there's a courtesy bathroom downstairs that they
They
can use.
was saying that no, they are downstairs. They're in the basement. That's it. They say you can walk upstairs and use the bathrooms up there, but you got one down here. Now, men like to poop a lot and they seem to take longer when they poop. I hope that bathroom is well ventilated. That's all I'm gonna say. Moving on, you guys. The next morning they're cooking breakfast, and Nasha's like, I make Nigerian eggs, which yeah, they're good. It's basically the same as every other egg that people do scrambled, except they add tomato, onion, and bacon, habanero sauce, and there's supposed to be like red peppers in there, but I mean, people do that all the time with eggs. But he's making breakfast, the men are making breakfast, and it seems like Booker and Lisa have a decent connection still. They're actually kissing, being affectionate, taking advantage of the fact that they're in the house together. But I was annoyed with Delicious again, James, because she talks to Tracy and they're getting to know each other about how he's from Philly, she's from Detroit. And, he says, I'd like to, how you feel about driving? Because I like to drive my woman places. You know, he's like, I like to drive them everywhere. Like making it seem like, he'll pick her up and drop her off. And when they go, for the weekend on the trip, he'll drive. I don't see the problem with that. I prefer that, honestly. My husband knows. But for Delicious, this is a problem. This is a problem. So she's saying to the confessional that she don't like that he wants to drive her everywhere. And she's like, wait, don't you have to make money for yourself? You're just going to be waiting on me hand and foot and driving. And he's like, I would love to do that. And then she brings up sex again. And I'm like, okay. So now you're mad because he says he has no problem waiting on his woman hand and foot. Somehow you equate that to he ain't got no money or no job because he's just doing everything he can to drive you around all day. Like, I really feel like something triggered her behind the camera that they are not showing us, because what the hell? Are you going to get mad if somebody you're dating, James, says that they don't mind picking you up, dropping you off, driving you everywhere, whatever you need?
I'm not gonna get mad about it, but I'm gonna be like, okay, at some point, I mean, that's cute and all, but I like my independence as well.
She can explain that, but she also got to understand you are on a show where this man is competing against a bunch of other men to win you. You want me to drive you? Yep, I'll do it all the time. You want me to work a job? Yep, I'll work full time. I'll never see you. Like, they're going to say yes, probably to a lot. And then it's probably going to be different in real life. She's just getting on my nerves, y'all. This episode, the driving thing was weird. I get not wanting to feel smothered by somebody and wanting to have time to yourself, but this man has a job. What are you expecting him to just quit his job to be with you, to drive you around? Like, she took more than a leap. I don't know what the hell to call it, but Delicious, you shouldn't be on this show. You should be sitting on somebody's couch figuring it out. That's how I feel. She needs to not date. She's 46.
Well, no, I agree. She needs to be on somebody's couch, absolutely, probably more than twice a week. But I feel like she needs to understand what she really wants, and then when she figures out what she really wants, make sure that her insides don't align with the opposite of what she wants. Because remember, as human beings, we naturally attract what we are. So if we're not aware of who we are and what we do, we tend to find people that are just like us, especially in the ugly characteristics, because they wear it differently than you do. It looks like something else. And that's what I feel like she's going to do. So, yeah, she needs to definitely be on somebody's couch and then have a great self awareness of herself. Because the way she's acting in this episode and what she's doing, she's going to get a man that's going to do exactly that to her because of
Yep.
how she is.
Yep. I agree. I fully agree. Now, K. Michelle asked Nosh the difference between dating a Nigerian man to an American man, which I think is a good thing to ask, but Africans aren't always the happiest about Black Americans, as they'll call them. That's all I'm gonna say, because I'm not gonna say too much more on YouTube. So I think you have to be very careful when asking questions about race, especially when you're trying to compare and contrast or find the difference or similarities. But Nash, the first thing he says is that Nigerian men are natural providers, which I actually agree with. I think that of most African men for the most part, not all, but most. American men are totally fine with, being stay at home dads, which nothing's wrong with. American men are totally fine with letting their women make most of the money. And then you also have some American men that are also like what Nash is describing, African men, where they're like, they have to be providers and, you know, all of that. So I didn't see nothing wrong with that. Nash talks well, y'all. That's what this whole little discussion made me think. Nash talks well, but why are you single, bro? Why are you single? Like K. Michelle says he's paying attention to the little details about her, but I don't think she's paying enough attention to the little details about him. I think she's so turned on by the fact that this man is Nigerian and he sang that song sounding all tribal. Like, I think she's still stuck on that. He is attractive. That man is fine. He is. But K. Michelle's not paying enough attention. Do you feel the same, James?
As I told you, this is not what she wants. That's very obvious. It's not what she wants. I think there are certain things she likes about him,
Hmm.
but as far as wanting long term, this ain't it. So no, I wasn't surprised by that.
Yep. I agree. I agree. I agree. It's just a mess, y'all. Now, I'm not going to go over, when Holly and her husband come and talk to the women about the men because we already know how they were feeling about them from the confessional and stuff. So it's not fully worth it to talk about on the recap. But I will say that Delicious was complaining about stupidity. That's about it. Elimination night does arrive, and anybody not invited to the dinner party is safe. So Delicious questions Zach again. before the elimination dinner, because they go to mingle after hearing this, and she questions him again, but this time she does it in front of all the other men, like right in front of them. And I felt like it was personally a little bit disrespectful of her, but she tells Zach that she is not catching the romantic energy from him. And he explains to her, he says the setting of this show is difficult for him to adjust to. And, the same stuff he had been saying prior. So Delicious seems to only be concerned for herself. She is not willing to acknowledge that these men are on camera and not used to it and uncomfortable at all. Uh, but he does explain he does not feel he did anything like to hurt her. He doesn't feel like he did anything wrong. And this is where she gets mad and she starts like arguing with him again a little bit. She says to him, "It's not me who's up for elimination." It's like, yeah, no shit. They're on a dating show. You're also not the only contender. And he explains to Delicious when she says that he is, on her side and he understands that, but at the same time, he tries to say to her, "I can go home too. You're not the only one that I'm not the only one that can get dumped. I don't have to be here either." Basically, not like he wants to go home, but he's trying to make her see like, just because you're on this show doesn't mean I'm going to kiss your ass if we end up together, is what I got from him. I think he's starting to realize, and I do think that Delicious may expect, like, if she gets with someone after this show. I agree with you, James. I don't think it'll last. I think part of the reason it won't last is because she's going to expect for them to still act as if they're competing for her love when they already have her. And I'm just like, girl, why are you arguing with him again? So he listens to everything that she's saying, but she seems to get upset. She tries to tell him he's not letting her talk, even though he barely spoke. I did agree with him there. But it seems like Delicious shuts people down and runs away when she's not able to get her way. And I also think that she's trying to use her body as a way to grab these men, because why would you half naked Delicious? You 46 years old. I'm not saying you can't look good and be naked at 46 years old, but it's like, read the room. There's a certain attire for everything. She was dressed like she was ready to go to the Baddies reunion on the Zeus Network. This is an elimination dinner, but you say you don't want people to be enamored and stuck on your sexy image as Delicious, which you showed to the elimination dinner half naked. I'm just saying. So there is more mess. Zach and his backpack go to complain to Afam about Delicious. And Afam, being as quiet and calm as he is, he's giving good advice. And Afam actually starts to agree. "Hi, bitch, stay winning. Welcome in. Good evening." Afam starts to agree a little bit with some of what Zach is saying. Like, I guess these men are genuinely uncomfortable with the camera and the idea of competing for the same women against each other. They're uncomfortable. Whatever, I get that. But Zach makes the point, like, she's treating me a certain way because of her past, because Delicious kept bringing up her past and alluding like she's dealt with domestic violence, and that's why she responds to men the way she does now. And Zach's like, "I'm not your past, though. Just because you went through that, I don't have to deal with that." But Afan gives good advice and asks Zach an important question. He says, "If you are called to the dinner as someone who is potentially going to be eliminated, do you really want to stay, or are you hoping you get sent home, essentially?" We don't hear what Zach has to say. We don't even get to see the dinner. This is where the episode ends. They leave us on a cliffhanger, but that's really made me like Afam. K. Michelle is tripping. She better put it on that man, okay? Because it be them quiet ones that's extra, extra nasty in the bedroom. I said what I said. He gonna keep it together on camera in his suit. He's gonna give advice. He's gonna be great, but he gonna tear that ass up with you in private. I sense that from Afam. I just do it. I think that he asked the most important question that he could to Zach. I don't think Zach wants to be there. I thought something was off with him from the beginning. I think he's here for exposure, but
Or it could have just been Delicious and her very abrasive being. Like, I mean, I wouldn't want to be around that either. And
she's too much.
at the end of the day, what he said was real. It's like, I'm not here to rescue you from whatever trauma you have. That's for you to deal with. And a lot of women do that. A lot of women think that men can rescue them from whatever trauma that they dealt with the last person. And I don't feel like that's a man's place.
Mm.
I don't feel like that's a man's place. I feel like that's for you to figure out and not bring it with you into the new relationship.
I think that's an important lesson, though, that all people can learn. Your trauma, people don't have to kiss your ass or,
Mhm.
respect every little thing that you need to just because of that, unfortunately. It's unfortunate that people experience traumas, but it doesn't make it that way, you know?
And I mean, you're right, and men too. This is also for men as well. Men, your trauma, what you went through with whatever appeasement you had to do with other men in your family, that's not for a woman to have to guide by that as well. So no, we're talking about the men as well. Yeah, the men too. But I'm just saying specifically with a lot of women like Delicious who go through what she goes through in her life, they tend to bring that with them.
Delicious gives me the girl who wants to pick a successful thug, but then when he does what a thug will do, then she want to cry about it. I feel like
And
she
they get
picks
mad
bad
at
men and then she cries about what these bad men do, even though she expected it because she said earlier in the doggone episode that she likes a challenge when choosing men and likes to fix them. So I'm just, Delicious is
But the
stressing
problem
me
is you
out.
can't fix something when you're broken as well.
Yeah, this is true. We know that. I
Yeah,
know
you
that.
can't fix
You know that.
something. Yeah, but she don't know
Delicious.
that.
She knows it. She's choosing to ignore it. This is a 46-year-old woman. Okay. She is seasoned with Lowry's. She's seasoned with Lowry's, sage, and ground mustard. Okay. This woman is thoroughly seasoned. She is 46 years old. And at this time in her life, she should at the very least be able to be like, damn, I can't figure it out, so let me go back to the drawing board or something. But no, she chooses to come on a show freshly divorced to be with a bunch of men that probably only want her for her assets anyway, and I cannot with her. She said exactly, she knows what she's doing and what this is about at this age, especially as a woman. She know better. That's why Lisa Ray and K Michelle said, I'll let her learn on her own, and Lisa Ray just be looking at her. they
Child, Lisa Ray is me because that's how I would be looking at her. I'm like,
That is you. You just go look at them. Okay.
I do. That's what I do. I just look at people and go, oh wow,
That's your business in his
yeah.
head.
Like I'm like, okay, you chose to do that today. Okay, well then here we go. Don't bring that over here. That's all I'm gonna say.
I will say, Delicious, you giving us a show, though. It's entertainment.
Yeah,
So
she definitely is. Yeah, the entertainment is superb because when I tell you she had me all in my feelings, she gave me all in my feelings, y'all. Like I can't lie. She giving us entertainment.
I wish Delicious would have went on marriage boot camp with Dr. Ish because he would have
Didn't
put
she? Oh
he
no,
would
she
have
went on the other one. Okay, I was gonna say she was on Marriage Boot Camp.
was she?
No, she wasn't. She was on Couples Retreat when Ray J and Princess were on there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
no.
that's
She need to go to a real doctor, not that bullshit. She need to go to a doctor. Dr. Ish would have put his whole foot in the side of her neck, and I would have been here for it.
I'm so
But
mad it's not a show no more.
yeah, I mean, I think they struggle to find people who are like willing to come on TV and air their whole relationship.
Well, see, no, but that's because the Love and Hip Hop people messed it up.
They
That's
did.
all it is.
They
That's all
did.
it is. The Love and Hip, they don't want to say that because it was some good ratings. But the Love and
Yeah.
Hip Hop people messed it up. A lot of them, especially the ones that couldn't give up weed. Yeah.
It definitely changed the dynamic of that show.
Hmm.
But that's it, y'all. We were left on a cliffhanger. We will be back again next week to go over the next episode. We'll figure out if Zach's going to stay or go. I feel like he should go. I feel like Delicious after Chris just up and left, and he was like, "I'll leave before I argue with you, bitch." That's what Chris said, and that's what he said. That's what it gave. When Chris was dealing with her, I was looking at his face. I was like, I don't think he's a bad dude. I do
No,
think
he's
he's a
not a
little
bad dude.
aggressive, but
And to me, I have a lot of respect for that because at the end of the day, you're not going to have me come out my character on national TV just because you trying to start an argument with me over a damn Dixie cup.
I genuinely was laughing I was laughing watching that because you could tell he didn't say it, but you could tell he's like, okay, chick, you could argue with yourself. I'm gone.
Right, because that's what I'm gonna start doing. You can argue with yourself.
But I think that bothered her ego, and I feel like that's why she's doing this with Zach. I feel like she wants to see if he gonna stay, even after she's difficult. She keeps saying that to people.
Just to spite her. I hope he go home too, just to spite her.
I do too.
Because then she ain't gonna have very many options.
Then she gonna be feeling like she wasted her money seeing that buying a bigger ass ain't gonna keep him in. But
then she gonna be invading on Lisa Ray and K Michelle's parade. That's what she gonna be doing.
Delicious don't make no sense. But everyone else, for the most part, is doing okay. I'm okay with Kay. I'm okay with Lisa Ray. I'm okay with Holly. Her husband sucks on TV, but I'm even okay with him. It's really just Delicious that's on my nerve. But we're going to cut back and see what happens next week, you guys. Be sure to subscribe to both channels. The link to James's channel is in the description of this video. We'll have some music reactions dropping this week. In addition to that, I'll be back on James's channel on Friday or Saturday?
Saturday.
Oh, Saturday, there will be Bell Collective as well as the Housewives of Salt Lake City, which is having a very good season thanks to Bronwyn. Yeah. But yeah, that's about it, y'all. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. Shout out to my replay gang. I appreciate all of you guys for watching Thug Life and enjoy the rest of your Manic Monday. Bye.